What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Live Training Wednesday. This is a free gut health training that I do every Wednesday, and I'm excited to hop back in and get these up and running for you guys. Today, we're talking about one of my clients who struggled with a lot of weight loss resistance. No matter what she could not seem to lose any weight. And as we all know from what I've talked about here so many times before, when your gut's out of whack, your metabolism gets out of whack, your hormones get out of whack. So weight loss resistance is a super common thing that I see in my practice. So she was struggling with a lot of weight loss resistance, just confusing weight gain, and could not get rid of it no matter what she tried. She was feeling very anxious. She's somebody who does practice a lot of mindfulness. She's very mindful about her stress and keeping it low. However, she was just like, when she came to me, she was like, Jillian, I feel so anxious all the time. I don't know what's going on. And she also was diagnosed with IBS. So she had a lot of those classic IBS symptoms, irritable bowel syndrome. Maybe you've been told that you have IBS, things like bloating and gas, bathroom issues, whether that be constipation, diarrhea, always needing to know where a bathroom is because maybe when you eat food, 20 minutes later, you need to find a bathroom. All of those are some of the really common IBS symptoms that I work a lot with. So this client came to me, those were her biggest symptoms. And we started working together. She was a private client of mine. And with all of my private clients, I start off with a dietary analysis. So I'm really looking over what food she was eating. And we were talking it through and saying, okay, what is working for you? What feels good for you? What parts of your nutrition are you looking to improve? Here are my thoughts. Here's my feedback. This is what I think we should do based off what I'm seeing here. So through this dietary analysis, we found that she was really eating appropriately. She had a very healthy diet. She was eating great foods. That's why she was like, that's why I'm so confused, why I can't lose any weight. Like, I eat really healthy. Maybe this is like you. This is super, super common. I see this a lot. So we found that she was eating appropriately, but there were some adjustments that we made along the way to her food. So there were some adjustments that I recommended to her. So we'll talk about that. But there were some things that were popping out to me through this analysis where I was like, okay, this is where I think we can have some area of improvement. I also did lab analysis. So this is another thing that I do for my private clients is blood work analysis. You guys would not believe how many women come to me with lab work that they've had done with markers that are out of balance and nothing was done about it. So I always like to see lab work for my private clients and give a full rundown of, okay, this is what's going on. I see that you have these markers out of balance. Let's correct these. So when she came to me, she had some labs that were very clearly out of balance. She had a lot of nutrient deficiencies on board. Immediately when I see nutrient deficiencies, I'm thinking, okay, what's going on in the gut, right? Because the gut is where we absorb all of our nutrients from the healthy foods that we're eating. So I wanted to look at the gut right off the bat. And I also am looking at lab values through not necessarily a reference range lab value, but a more optimal range. So in conventional medicine, when you're going to your doctors, they might be running some blood work and there's this certain range that they're working within. And as long as you fit within that range, you're considered normal, you're healthy, everything is great. When in fact, that range, if you really think about it, it's like you're healthy, 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 and then all of a sudden, boom, disease. And there's no gray area in between, right? It's either black or white. You're healthy or you're diseased. And that's not really how it is in true health. There's a lot of gray area. So there's optimal ranges. So I'm not just looking at, okay, what's the reference range? What's considered quote unquote normal? I'm way more interested in looking through an optimal lens. And if you're not in that optimal range, I want to get on top of it before it starts to trend into that diseased or into, a diagnosable condition. So getting ahead of it, way ahead of the game, I mean, shouldn't that be the approach of all of healthcare? Unfortunately, it's not. So that's really what I'm interpreting your labs through. So anytime I work with clients, I am looking at outside blood work for you as well. So I was doing that for her. We found a lot of nutrient deficiencies, some areas of things that can be improved. So we were doing that, and then we got into the testing. So as you guys know, I do functional medicine lab testing with all of my clients, whether you're in the Gut Fix, which is our small group program, or if you're working with me as a private client, we do testing because it is truly essential to figure out, okay, what's going on. So we did testing for her. We did both hormone testing and gut health testing. So we did stool testing because she was having all that weight loss resistance. I want to see, okay, what's going on with your hormones? What's going on with your metabolism? What's going on with your stress? All of those are really playing into the weight loss piece, as well as the anxiety and even IBS stuff. So what we found in her hormone testing was, number one, her sex hormones were totally out of whack. So her things like estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, I'm measuring for all of those, and hers were kind of all over the place. And the other really big thing was her stress hormone. We call this cortisol. Her cortisol was through the roof. So her body was cranking out stress hormone. Her body was under a lot of stress. Now I'm sharing this with you guys because this is huge if you are trying to lose weight and you feel like you've hit that wall when you're like, I cannot seem to lose weight. No wonder she couldn't lose any weight. Her body thinks that it's under a constant fight or flight. When your body is pumping out that much stress hormone, whether you're even aware of it or not, your body can very well be under stress and you may not even be fully aware of it. But if your body is under stress, pumping out those stress hormones, that completely puts the brakes on any of your weight loss attempts. Because if your body feels that it's under stress, it feels that there's danger, it's not going to let go of weight. Think about it. Think back to like the caveman days, our ancestors, many, many years ago, when our body was under any sort of stress, whether that be from, I don't know, hunger, famine, or it felt that there was danger in the area, it's going to hold on to all your resources. It's not going to let things go. That's how your body keeps you alive. Something that I always work with my clients through is your body 100% of the time, 24/7, is working to keep you safe. That is literally the main job of your body. That's its top priority 100% of the time, is to keep you safe. I mean, I love that. I just think that's so cool. Freaking the human body is beautiful. I love it. And so in doing that, if your body thinks it's under stress, it's going to say, girl, don't worry. I'm going to hold on to all of our resources. We're going to get through this stressful time. I got you. I'm holding on to everything. But then you on the outside are like stressing out more because you're like, I cannot seem to lose weight. This is so frustrating. I feel so defeated. I'm overwhelmed. Nothing works for me, which is just adding fuel to the fire, right? So you kind of start getting into this vicious cycle. So I test for this in my practice with my private clients. I'm testing your stress hormones so we can literally see if your body is under stress or not. Because remember what I shared about this client, she's very into mindfulness, breathwork, meditation, and not saying that you have to be any way or sorts of that. You don't have to, be someone who meditates every day. You don't have to be someone who journals every day. You find what works for you. But her, personally, this is what she loved to do. So she was very conscious of her stress. And so when she came to me, she was like, no, I'm practicing all the stress reduction techniques. I'm doing all the things right. But when we did the testing, we saw her stress hormone was through the roof. So this was super helpful information because she was like, holy crap, my body thinks that it is under attack over here. Let's start calming things down. So in order to lose weight, we have to let our bodies know that it is safe to do so. So we have to do this by eliminating the source of threat that our body is feeling, whether that be inflammation. We have to go inflammation hunting. Where is inflammation being stirred up in your body to where your body is now under stress because of that? We have to bring in some calming support to start relaxing the nervous system. So no wonder she was feeling super anxious. She was having all this stress hormone being pumped out of her body 24/7. That's going to make you feel really anxious. So after getting these test results, we then dove into some stool testing. Because then we were like, okay, so something is throwing your body into a stress response. Could this be a gut infection? Absolutely. You pair that with the nutrient deficiencies we're seeing, you pair that with the IBS symptoms, the bloating, the bathroom issues, definitely could be gut related. So then we went in and we took a look at her gut health and to see what was going on in there. What we found was a bacterial infection, a parasite, and this specific parasite causes a lot of disruptions to cognition. It causes a lot of disruptions to your mood, to your focus, to your brain power. So that was just adding more fuel to the fire of her feeling anxious because her cognition wasn't great. She was having a lot of brain fog because of this parasite. And she had tons of bad bacteria, which also just adds a lot of toxins into the body, creating more stress. So you can see how there's a lot of different factors at play here. And that's why it's not as simple as, just doing a one and done appointment with somebody and going in and saying, hey, I can't lose any weight. And that's why I get on top of some people on the internet when they say that the only things you need to focus on are eating right and exercising, because there's so much more to the story, as you guys can see. And we can see through testing of, oh my goodness, your estrogens are so high. Your hormones are all out of balance. No wonder you can't lose weight. Oh my goodness, your body is under so much stress. You weren't even aware that your body is pumping out the stress hormone, which totally puts the brakes on any sort of weight loss goals. Not to mention this specific stress hormone that we were looking at that was through the roof for her, your body pumps it out in response to inflammation. So that's how we knew there was some inflammation going on in her body. Through stool testing, we were able to find the source of inflammation. She had a bacterial infection, a parasite, and lots of bad bacteria. That stirs up a lot of inflammation in the body. So now having these answers, we were able to craft her a customized protocol for addressing all of these things. So what we did for her was, I love doing a foods first approach. So I'm always like, okay, where can we start bringing in some more supportive foods? What kind of foods do I recommend you focus on? So here are the recommendations that I gave to her. So if you guys are listening to this and you're like, yep, this sounds like me, pull out a notebook, start writing some of these notes down, because I'm going to share with you guys what we worked on together to get her feeling better. So number one is we are looking at her food, and she was somebody who wasn't eating breakfast in the morning. Skipping breakfast, especially for my premenopausal women, so women who are still cycling, I do not recommend skipping breakfast. I have seen so many hormone tests, and never, ever have I ever had a woman come into my practice who has been fasting, skipping breakfast, and had nice hormones. Fasting really is hard on women's hormones, and you can see this through testing. So she was skipping breakfast. This only perpetuates your body's stress hormone to go up, because your body thinks that it's in a fasting state is a stress on the body, so it's going to pump out more of that cortisol. So what we did is we started working in breakfast that contained 30 grams of protein. So that's a big one for everybody listening. Breakfast with 30 grams of protein is so important to break your nighttime fast with lots of protein. This is going to keep you feeling fuller longer. It sustains your energy. And most importantly, it's going to tell your body, hey, we have food, no need to panic. You don't need to be holding on to all of our resources. You don't need to be pumping out that stress hormone. We're well fed, we're good. So 30 grams of protein was what we started working on. I recommended that she include at least one cruciferous veggie per day. So cruciferous veggies are going to be things like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, kale. Those are nutrient powerhouses for the liver. And the liver is really huge for hormone balance, because your liver is what metabolizes our hormones. So we have to support the liver when there's any sort of wonky hormones going on. So one cruciferous veggie per day, and we came up with some fun recipes that she enjoyed. She is somebody who really likes broccoli. So I was like, great, let's start including some broccoli into your diet, and here are some suggestions on how to do that. And then we also incorporated 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed per day. So ground flax is another one that's really helpful for healthy hormones. It's also a great source of fuel for your good gut bacteria. So kind of 2 birds with 1 stone with that one. So I recommended that she buy them whole seeds and then grind them herself. So we found a super cheap, it was like a $10 coffee grinder on Amazon, like what you grind your coffee beans with. So buying your flax seeds whole and then grinding them yourself, you are going to save more of the nutrients. Because seeds are a fat, they're a source of healthy fats, they oxidize, which means basically they go bad pretty quick. So when you buy them ground, there's not as much nutrients in them. So I always recommend, this is a little tip for you guys, buy them whole, grind them yourself, and then use those ground flax seeds however you want. So for her, she wanted to just stir a tablespoon into a glass of water and drink that every day. Super easy. You can also add in a tablespoon to smoothies, sprinkle them onto salads or onto grain bowls. I even add ground flaxseed to my pasta sauces when I'm doing pastas. So lots of ways to include that ground flax, but it's really helpful for healthy hormones. And then we also added in some good lifestyle. So we found through her testing that her cortisol, that stress hormone, was highest in the morning. So she was waking up and her stress hormones were high. No wonder she was feeling so anxious in the morning. Anybody else wake up with morning anxiety? We got to do some things to bring that stress hormone down in the morning. So like I shared with you guys, she was really into meditation and breath work. She was typically doing it later in the afternoon. So simple little hack that we worked in for her was moving that breath work to first thing in the morning to bring down that cortisol. When her stress hormone was high, that's when we're going to bring in that meditation breath work practice that she loves doing into the morning. We also added on an extra magnesium. So you guys know I talk about magnesium all the time on here. She was already taking magnesium to help with her bowel movements, but magnesium can also be really helpful for reducing anxiety, making you feel more calm, reducing stress. So we added on, when you do your breath work, take a magnesium supplement to help bring down your nervous system and kind of chill things out. I also added on some other targeted supplements for her, like different adaptogens to really help bring down her nervous system and calm things down. Let's see, what else did we throw on them? I actually have her personalized protocol pulled up right here. I did put on some targeted vitamins and minerals to support the nutrient deficiency. So with those gut issues, she wasn't absorbing her nutrients very well. So giving her a little bit of extra support there to cover those, like low-hanging fruit, get rid of those nutrient deficiencies. And then, of course, we are addressing the root causes, which are the bacterial infection, the parasite, and the bad bacteria overgrowth. So in my practice, I use all natural herbs and botanicals. So there's different nutrients, different herbs that I use specifically for different bacteria that I'm looking for. So we found, for example, she had a ton of bad bacteria. That bad bacteria causes a ton of gas production, which leads to bloat. So maybe this is you. Maybe you just have too much bad bacteria going on. So when we measure for this in the stool testing, I'm able to say, oh, so yeah, you have a lot of this bad bacteria. This herb will lower that number and make you feel so much better. I'm going to add this onto your protocol. Take 2 capsules before you go to bed, and that's really going to help bring down that bad bacteria. So those are sort of an example of the personalized supplement plans that you get. I tell you guys, we really craft these together, and I want it to feel really good for you to work into your lifestyle. Maybe you're somebody who loves taking supplements and you're like, yes, give me all of the things that I need. I love having a routine. This is fun for me. Or maybe you're someone who's like, Jillian, I don't like taking pills. I always forget. That we cater to that either way. So sometimes I have clients who are like, give it all to me. And I have some clients who are like, just give me what I need. Just give me the priorities. So for her, she just wanted the priorities. So we gave her 4 supplements to focus on. One's to address the stress, the really high cortisol, the imbalanced hormones, and then the gut infections. And we've been working together now for 3 months, literally just 3 months. And she is now feeling so much lighter, energized. Her morning anxiety is gone just from a little bit of nervous system support in the mornings and some dietary adjustments. And she's losing weight. She was telling me that this is the first time in 2 years that she's finally able to lose weight. And she is not really modifying her diet except for those few additions that I talked about. Not cutting out any calories, not counting her macros, just supporting the body from the inside out. You really will find that your body begins to work back with you. So that is her story. I see this all the time in my practice. And so if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, yes, I'm struggling with those same symptoms, these are the things I have so much experience with. And I want you to know it is so possible for you too. I literally see so many women heal from these exact things all the time. So you're no different. This is so possible for you as well. And if you want to chat with me to kind of talk more about what you're struggling with, see if it's something that I might be able to help with, or if I have any advice for you, I would love to hop on a phone call. I offer complimentary phone calls where we can chat about your gut stuff. I can share some advice, what I would recommend for your next steps, hopefully offer some good direction and clarity for you. So if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and click this link that I put into the description here. It'll take you to my calendar and you can choose a time that works for you and we'll talk. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday. I will see you guys next week for another Live Training Wednesday. If you guys have any topics that you want me to chat about in these weekly live trainings, go ahead and put them into the comments section. It can be about gut health. It can be nutrition. It can be stress. It can be testing. It could be supplements. So many things. I love chatting about it all. So go ahead, put into the comments any questions that you have, areas that you're interested in learning more about, and I will cover it next week. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day.